So, this is going to be the series between myself and SovietKingdom, playing against GGeasy and... I don't even know his name is, it's different every single time I see him, but Dingo, we're going to call him Dingo. I think he used a different name in our series as well, so I'll probably adapt to whatever name he's on this time, but it is the same player. He just had a different name for every match. So they are the fastest team, and we are the BGH team, so our first series is going to be on Fighting Spirit. And like I said, the loser gets to pick, but we go to their map after, whichever team loses. The Gentleman is his name today, and I think he was European, so he was playing this match. I think it was like 3 a.m. for him, 3 a.m. So it was a little bit late for him, or early. Maybe early, late. I'm not sure if he woke up or stayed up. So we are playing... I was playing random. And I think they were both picking toss. I'm pretty sure. For these maps. Okay, so... bottom right, we got myself as Terran. My teammate, SovietKingdom, he does pick toss, so he'll be pro toss every single game. And as you saw, maybe you saw, the comms where I think I said I was going to mech and he was going to 2-gate. We're against GGeasy playing pro toss, and a teammate, Dingo, also playing pro toss. And magenta, no less. Kind of respect the magenta. So, gateway coming down here for Gentleman. Dingo, Gentleman. We'll call him Gentleman probably, more than not. GGeasy, gateway also coming down. Nothing too crazy, no like forge or anything, right? Just kind of a standard gateway opener. Probe does get in here, which is kind of part of playing 2v2, gets the gas still on me. It's actually a pretty big mistake. I should have cancelled or not started up my next SCV, and I could have started this right away. It just kind of didn't even cross my mind that gas still was going to end up happening. Drops the pylon here as well, so I can't finish my wall. He does scout and sees that we have a forge coming out of GGeasy here. Excuse me. Second gateway here for Soviet. Yeah, just kind of got the probe harass ordeal going on here. He attacked one of my SCVs here a little bit. And then kind of gave up on it, so we're not having to deal with the probe harass consistently here at least. But you see a zealot on the way here, zealot on the way here as well. Probably going to rally down to me. I do make a request for a zealot since I can't do a full wall. I put 4 SCVs on the assimilator. Again, like any responses you see out of like players like myself and them probably is not going to be, exactly correct, since this is not our map. It's a little bit out of our comfort zone. But I leave the marine up here briefly. Just didn't have it rallied. But I need to kill this as fast as possible to start my gas. It does actually come in for the regas still, but do manage to start my refinery right away, so that doesn't happen. And we get the probe kill, so that feels pretty nice. Cannon's actually going downhill here. Yeah, because of this pylon, the zealots can't actually fit through here now, so we're gonna have to deal with this bit of harassment. Soviet does pull his SCV here, or his zealot here to jump on the cannons. It kind of leaves me to deal with the zealot, which I think is perfectly fine, as long as I micro correctly. Start a second barracks here, because I was expecting a lot of zealot pressure. And obviously we're not feeling super comfortable right now. Lose 1 marine here to the zealot. Second marine also gets picked off, so not the best control by myself. Soviet does have 3 zealots here, preventing the cannons from coming up. Zealot here going for this SCV, turns around to fight the marine. We do get the kill. Floating 400 minerals right now, so being taxed a little bit on the multitasking, have a hard time getting my factories up, and actually cancel those barracks once we kind of stabilize here and start my factory. End up starting my second factory, I think right away here. Oh, no, I go CC. Okay, see, I don't even remember. My own games. I guess it's why I can cast my own games if I just don't even remember what I did. In the meantime, we got 2 Dragoons coming for Soviet Kingdom, so Tekken and a Dragoon after Zealot and Cannon pressure from both Protosses, so if he manages to get Goons out, can be very strong here. Pylon going down at Soviet's front, so you definitely see some of the fastest mentality here being brought out on Fighting Spirit, where they kind of just want to try to cannon one of us in and hold us. Fighting Spirit or BGH, but I feel like you typically don't see strategies like this from Fighting Spirit players or low money players. But we got 5 Zealots here and 2 Dragoons against just the 4 Zealots of the enemy team, so it should be fine. Pushing out my 3 Marines, maybe just looking to walk across the map, just to give them a little bit extra to think about or some pressure. I don't really feel like I need the Marines right now. Second factory on the way, CC almost finished. Going CC this early probably was too greedy. I was just floating a lot of minerals from being kind of poor multitasking. Could have gone with nukes right about there. True, what was I doing? These Marines, they're just kind of throwaway for me at this point. Maybe I should leave them for a bunker, but I do actually manage to get inside and scout. I see the 2 gateways, I see the Citadel. Go down to see if like maybe I can find a archives or something on the way, and here I actually see the archives. So these throwaway Marines actually got really good information, surprisingly. Meanwhile, Soviet pushing up here. There's 3 Dragoons, 4 Zealots. Forward Pylon coming down here, maybe looking to get some of his own cannons to secure an expansion. Meanwhile, I did flow my CC down, doing a bit of an SCV transfer. 2 Vultures here, out on the map. Sorry, my voice is kind of shaky today, I apologize. I do have mines finished, and I'm going to start laying some mines here to get a little bit of map control. I do know that PTs are coming out relatively soon. So just trying to block a little bit of pathway with the mines. Unfortunately, we didn't really have good vision, so we don't even see the enemy coming across until they basically show up in my natural here. That's really trying to throw down some mines. Get one pretty decent mine hit. Start chipping away at these Zealots. We have a fair amount of mines ready, but yeah, I just didn't see them coming and very slow getting my defensive mines up. Losing vultures with my mines as well, not being planted, is a bit painful. GGeasy right clicks on the CC here, trying to possibly pick it off. But we come down with our vultures, lift the CC. And we are going to be able to clean this up. We lose quite a few SCVs. We're down to 30 SCVs right now. So taking a fair amount of damage here. Again, just kind of let the lack of vision getting punished. Not being set up properly with my mines yet. DTs try to come in. One gets picked off and the other gets low. And we already have an observer here as well, spotting the other one. That being said, like, the damage still isn't too bad. We're at 32 workers and we're on our expansion, so we're still in decent shape. Gentleman did get his natural up as well, though, sitting on 33 probes, so actually not looking too bad here for Dingo, Gentleman. GGeasy pushing across here with 5 goons to 3, but we do have the uphill advantage. So he's going to fall back, and he's going to get flanked here by Soviet's extra goons. Trying to move away and micro a little bit. Loses 3 goons here, going to lose a 4th. Looks like this one bugged. That happens quite a bit with Dragoons. I feel like more with Dragoons than any other unit. DT's here chipping away at the Zealots, but the Observer comes in and both DTs die. Looks like we're just on Zealot Goon right here right now for Gentleman. Eco, like I said, looking pretty strong, even on workers with me. Soviet pushing here to 11 o'clock. We have 3 defensive cannons set up. Kind of an interesting placement. Not entirely sure what the thought is. Maybe it's kind of fight run-bys a little bit better if you're trying to like move Zealots past. But with them being spread out, a lot of the cannons end up not firing for the first bit of the army. I come in with my vultures, lay mines here in the path to kind of intercept the army a good bit. Yeah, most of the army gets cleaned up here. Just trying to get to GGeasy's base. Still no observers, it looks like, for either player. We do have the robotics here, but no observatory yet. Gonna manage to pick off this Nexus. With that GGeasy and 34 probes on one base is going to be a bit oversaturated. I do still like the continued probe production, because when you can if you're able to retake the base, you want to have those extra workers for transfer without losing income in the process. With that, they GG out, and game 1 goes to Team Azhi. Okay, we're gonna hop straight into game 2. Game 1, relatively straightforward win, I think. Like I said, I did allow myself to get gas stolen, which I shouldn't have. I had plenty of time to react to the probe coming into my base, just very slow reaction from me. We didn't really take too much damage from the harass. I think I did get punished a little bit for going CC so quickly. If Soviet wasn't macroing so well, I would have been in a pretty bad spot. If he didn't show up to protect me, I'd basically have enough to fight both armors. Hey, what's up, Pharaohs? Okay, here I call for going overpool. Soviet said he wants to go Dragoons. We're both bottom of the map again. Against double toss yet again. Yo, what's up, Rob? How's it going, man? Thanks, man. Yeah, I feel like that day, it was a good day for me and a bad day for Exit, so... Bad combination, I think, for Exit. I felt really on point, and Exit had a hangover. Yeah, I appreciate that. Alright, so I am playing random, so they don't know my race right now. So both players opening, you know, one gate, obviously, but gas actually coming down for Gentleman. Maybe a little bit of a... kind of a gamble. It can be dangerous going straight to Goons. We'll see if he wants to go Zealots or not with this. Because going straight to Goon with me being on Zerg playing Overpull can be very, very sketchy. Especially if my teammate also was going 2-gate. But they come in here and they see he was going Dragoon. So with that, they might be able to kind of surmise that I am Zerg. Or, you know, we could be double toss doing the same build that they're doing, but typically if you see someone teching like that, usually it means there's a Zerg that's going early pull to kind of help protect them and get early game control to allow the tech. Manor Pylon actually coming down against Soviet. Has managed to trap one probe, and it will kind of mess the mining up, because you'll see when a probe wants to mine from this mineral patch, they'll swing all the way around here. So they go all the way back around here, gather the patch, and come all the way back around. Another big Manor Pylon goes down, actually trapping 3 probes. You do see that Soviet immediately started attacking with the probe here, starts attacking with these as well. When one comes out, you can set it back to mining, and just let your probes do DPS while you get your first unit out. You're good on the way. I did come out with my lings and actually ran past a Zealot, so it's kind of bad by me because my purpose is for map control. Zealot coming in here against SovietKingdom. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys, I was completely like funneled on what I was doing and not paying attention to Soviet being harassed. So I come in with the lings, kind of jump on the probe line. It does mean it's going to be a little bit harder for blue to micro in the process. Managed to pick up this first Zealot here. Second Zealot coming in, targeting the Goon. Soviet trying to break this pylon a little bit in the meantime. Did get a couple probe kills, got Gentleman down just to 16 probes, but not enough damage. Meanwhile, Soviet dealing with both players rallying Zealots into them. It's like we killed a scouting probe, possibly. Second Goon not quite out. Running around with my 2 Zerglings. Not being a very good teammate right now. Not doing what my job was. Soviet drops a bro. Wondering where I am. Understandably so. And here I am with my lings backed up. say, oh my bad. Yeah, I just was not paying attention. So we're making Soviet Micro for his life while he's going Dragoons, which completely defeats, you know, kind of the advantage you get from going Dragoons. So huge error on my part, not protecting my teammate. Taking a lot of probe damage now, down to 15 workers. GGeasy up to 21, so GGeasy actually looking very strong right now. I did get a little bit of damage on blue, but obviously not nearly enough to make up for how much damage Soviet has been dealing with. Finally, my Lings show up. I killed the last zealot. I think I intercepted like 1 or 2 zealots as well. Kind of tell by how much HP I'm missing. Soviet asking for an overlord. Move commanded my Lings into the zealots here, losing a few Lings unnecessarily. But we do manage to clean up the zealots. In the meantime, we have forward pylon coming down and a forge, maybe looking to drop cannons here and expand. Eco-wise, GGeasy looking pretty strong eco. Soviet pretty much even with blue. Blue also going up to 2-gate goon right now. We're just on 1-gate goon from Soviet. Not just because of the worker loss, because worker is relatively even, but the amount of mining time that he lost while trying to micro and probe drill and stuff also does a lot of damage. So 2 Dragoons coming out here, with the 2 Dragoons backing up all these Lings. Initially looking to jump on top of the pylon, the 2 Dragoons come out, so my Lings will chase these 2 Dragoons. 3 Zealots coming in from GGeasy behind as he drops defensive cannons, pumping 3-8 Zealot at a time. Does manage to snipe this pylon, unpowering both of the gateways for Dingo, so he's completely unable to make any units right now. So pretty much what you see is what you get from blue, as GGeasy coming in, trying to protect. A lot of probes going down. Soviet targeting this goon down to allow him to micro a bit, and targeted 1 extra probe down as well, knocking him down to just 10 probes at the moment. Meanwhile, I was able to secure an expansion, and I started making a few extra drones while continuing to make Lings. And now it's just a bunch of slow Zealots against these 3 Dragoons in the base. Not a whole lot of room to work with though, so it is possible for GGeasy to get us around here. Lets all 3 goons slip out. Does get a fair amount of damage and almost kills 2 of them, but the goons do manage to slip out. Citadel coming down. We did get our pylons back up as well for gentlemen, so we can start making units again. That being said, our eco is really weak. And I did manage to slip by with my Lings here. Killed 1 cannon, came in here. Just killed a couple workers, but pretty good drilling and relatively close to no micro from myself. Soviet going up to his 3 gateway now, and just continue to chip away at the Zealots as they chase 3 Dragoons here. And there's just nothing but slow Zealots so far for GGeasy and Gentleman here. So the Goons can have a bit of a field day. I don't have an Overlord up there. I am moving it over now, but it's pretty far away ahead on the wrong side. Soviet making the call to hit 11 o'clock now. And we catch a lot of these slow Zealots out. A fair amount of slow Zealots flanking. Tech-wise, leg speed did start, but it's only just started, so it's pretty far off. The Dragoons are getting a lot of, like, kind of free damage, and the Maling's basically playing to cover the Dragoons if it's needed. Chasing the Zealots here back, really good play. As you push these back, Dragoons are also faster than Zealots. So pushing them further back if you want to like change direction and then hit the other base, then they will be a little bit slow to follow. We actually have a gateway building here in Gentleman's base, or Soviet's base from Gentleman, but it's cancelled as he sees the army coming, the units coming. That spotted it. Maybe looking for kind of a cheeky in-base DT build. I have actually seen this work before, so kind of like the thought. So yeah, we chased all these units back, killed a few extra Zealots. No extra buildings coming down here are going to kill the probe. Let's have the pylon here. Soviet in the meantime, going back, turns back around. And then I'm just kind of holding here. I did build up a fair amount of drones, so we're up to 27 drones going into Hydra Tech now. A lot of Zealots with these 2 goons, and you will see, like, Zealot goon does do really good against Dragoon, especially here with leg speed finishing for GGeasy now. But if you have like the Zealots tanking for your Dragoons and then Dragoon DPS behind it, can actually trade really, really well because it takes a lot of shots for Dragoons to dig through Zealots. Is this BGH? No, this is Fighting Spirit. But I do meet up with Soviet's army here in the middle, and we managed to chase it back, trade really well against the Zealots. GGeasy does have a lot of Zealot. But unfortunately his teammate just took a lot of damage. He's at, sorry, at 19 probes here. Going into his own Zealots. I'd actually like to see Dragoons at this point, or even Storm, honestly. Going into Storm, I mean, it can be hard because he has been really weak and he's been pushed back. We don't have any detection up here either, so if he just dropped a couple defensive DT even, and then went into Storm behind it, could trade really well, as I am on Hydra, and my teammate on pretty much pure Dragoon still. But we're basically just going back and forth here, trading against a lot of the army. Pick off another extra free Zealot. GGeasy trying to stay more or less center map, so that he can defend his teammate if needed. Doing up some Dragoons here now for Gentleman as we turn back around and go to GGeasy. Zealots once again coming behind. So GGeasy doing like a decent job of trying to pull us back and forth to buy time, and then we're also turning around and meeting him over and over again to try and trade against his army. That bought him a lot of time as far as getting his macro up and stuff. He does have 3 cannons, 4th cannon on the way, but there's a lot of army here. And then Zealots coming here to flank after most of the cannons have gone down. But it's a lot of Zealots here, which isn't doing too poorly. If the cannons had been up with all this army at the same time, I think you would have been able to hold, but with the reinforcing Zealots coming in, or Hydras coming in, looks like we're just barely going to be able to clean up this army. Or it's going to be relatively even, honestly. But a lot of Dragoons coming in from Soviet as well. Just a little bit of micro here with the Hydra. Pushing the Zealot or the Dragoons back, finishing off the last few. So there's only 2 Dragoons left here on the right side. Meanwhile, defensive cannon coming down, dropping 2 extra gateways. Just only 3 additional Zealots here behind these 2 Dragoons left over. Meanwhile, third base finishes up for me as well. GGeasy looking pretty healthy economic-wise. Like, he's on 39 probes. Soviet is a little bit further ahead, and I'm on 31 probes, but his economy is looking good. It just seems like we never quite recovered from the early damage, and a Reaver drop coming in and killing like a ton of probes from Gentleman, knocking him down just to 8 probes now on 1 base. And with that, he cancels the gateway smartly, but with that, his economy is just completely shattered here. Meanwhile, Soviet and I looking very, very healthy. I think without Storm, it's going to be tough. GG is going to go ahead and be called. We did have DT on the way, but we have Observer. So unfortunately, Gentlemen, just taking damage in the early game and never quite being able to get back into it from there. So with that, Team Azhi will take the 2-0 victory on Fighting Spirit, meaning that we will now move to Fastest. Alright, so we're going to jump into Game 1 of Fastest. As I've mentioned many times before, the losing team always gets to play their map after the first series, so yeah, we will be playing on Fastest for the second set. Is this Lost Temple? I feel like I'm being trolled. The first series was on Fighting Spirit. We're playing on Fastest now. Easy saying PP because I did actually pick Protoss this time. I think I explained endgame. I think I say why I'm picking Protoss. But if not, I'll let you know. GGeasy now playing random. He did pick Protoss on the Fighting Spirit maps. I've kind of mentioned this before, we'll go ahead and say it again. Here I say I tried playing the other races on this map, I don't get it. And yeah, for 2v2 I just didn't understand kind of like what my role is. When I get different races on the passes for 2v2. Alright, I'm not speaking super well today. Running on a very small amount of sleep at the moment. So I do apologize. Storm and Reaver is pretty nasty on these maps. Yeah, it's pretty insane. Kind of mandatory almost. So anyway, I was gonna say, all three of us are picking Protoss except for GGeasy is actually playing random. So here I scout the pylon coming down. And I actually put some thought into kind of what I wanted to do if the situation did happen. So cannon's coming down and I pull 3 probes, and I think I bring my scouting probe to have 4 probes here. And just kind of start targeting the cannons. Cannons do gain HP very, very slowly while they're building. So if you just put probes on them, you can actually out DPS their growth. And we actually killed both cannons, those are not cancels. And a 3rd kill as well, so we're getting no cancels on these cannons right now. And a 4th, so that was 4 cannon kills already. So these 4 probes just did 450 minerals worth of damage. Lings do show up and kind of push me back. Manages to pick off 1 probe here. And kind of run towards the mineral line. So it does slow down my economy a lot, obviously. Having to deal with the cannons and pulling probes. And then also having the Lings run into my base. Do a bit of a probe pull here. And we only managed to kill, wow, we killed 0 Lings here. Get them all like pretty low, but only don't kill a single one. Hit those 4 probes of mine more than the 450. So it's not so much about doing the damage, because I would have expected a cancel. But it's more about just not allowing myself to get blocked in. And because he spent so many resources trying to get me blocked in, while also going for the block here, it does allow Soviet to get Zealots out to bust himself open so that he doesn't get trapped. So this actually allows him into the middle of the map. So while the probe pull does make me weaker, it does also help my teammate not get walled in as well. But I did pull the early pressure. It does mean that I am weak, obviously, from pulling the probes, and you kind of see him at 14 workers. That being said, Gentleman's at 15, so maybe cut a couple probes himself in the process, trying to get the walls up. Drops a lot of cannons here to make sure that he holds me in. Meanwhile, Soviet does manage to get out on the map. And the reason this is significant is because now, because he's out, it means that GGeasy has to build Sunkens. If we're blocked in, then obviously he doesn't have to make creeps and Sunkens, and not only is he not losing or spending the money, but he gets to keep those drums for mining. So this does a significant amount of damage to the Zerg, who already opened 9 pool. Or early pull, I didn't really see what the pull timing was. So his probe count's already low, and then he has to make more Sunkens because he has to worry about the counterattacks. Probes do get here on Soviet's mineral line. We managed to pull the probes and get a decent drill, kill some of the Lings, but like I said, pulling probes off, I've said this every time, does hurt the economy a bit because it kind of resets like them getting back on all the right mineral patches for a few moments. We go for the bust here, and we have basically an overwhelming number of Zealots here, so we managed to break through all the cannons. Bring both of us up on the map. So all of this makes GGeasy very uncomfortable because now, like I said, he can't defend, like he has to spend resources into defending himself instead of playing for like a really strong mid game. We're gonna push into 9 o'clock here in the meantime. I do have Dragoons kind of on the way here. And 1 defensive cannon in case of like DT or something like this, or maybe some run-bys. We see 5 Sunkens here in this pretty tight Sim City, so we call for the retreat. But even just pushing in and kind of showing that we want to hit them does force, again, more Sunkens, which is like doing drone damage in and of itself. Gentleman here is trying to kind of get a defensive wall up here at the front, but we do turn around and show up in time. So he's going to have to concede that, dropping some defensive cannons around his nexus here. But right now there's only 1 cannon up as we're moving into the base. And GGeasy, having to play very low ego for a very long time, trying to get into Hydra Tech, doesn't have a whole lot of units to help his teammate with at the moment. Our third cannon finishing here, but Zealot counts pretty low for Gentleman. Only 4 Zealots so far remaining as we kind of finish to get on top of these cannons here. Ling's maybe look for like a small counterattack, but then realizing his teammate's in trouble, turns back around to try and help with whatever he can. Dragoons do show up here for me as we're clearing out these cannons. A bit of a probe drill here, trying to mess with the AI of the Zealots, but not quite being able to stop them from attacking and killing the cannons. Ling showing up here on the Dragoons. All the cannons are cleared out now. And yeah, if you just look at the eco, like Soviet's eco, very, very strong at 43 workers right now. I think he has double Nexus. Yeah, he went 2 Nexus even. And with that, it's looking like Gentleman is going to die here, leaving GGeasy by himself, who has started pumping Hydra, but he's only on 22 workers right now, which is not really the worker count you want to be at for your like mid-late game Zerg. So he's going to go ahead and GG out. In game 1, we'll go to me and Soviet here on fastest. Jumping into game number 2. Here I talk about what I did. I was kind of proud of myself because I had put a little bit of thought into it. I know it's like not something super innovative, which I think I might even say. Maybe I'll say it later on. But it worked. Was early cannon losses too much too soon? Yeah, I think so, exactly. Let's go Team Azhi. What's up, Ace? Okay, so this time GGeasy does land on Terran. So 3 Protosses and Terran. So we'll see kind of how the strategy differs here. I do see a lot of times with the Protoss Zerg, you get a lot of cannons with the Ling support, and then like strong eco Hydra mid game. This is what I've seen so far every time with the PZ strategy. But like you guys said, being able to stop all those cannons and not even getting the cancels on the cannons put us in just a really, really good position, allowed Soviet on the map, forces the Zerg to make Sunkens because he has to worry about getting countered, and it all just kind of snowballed from there. So all 3 Protosses working with a 2-gate start, 3rd gate going down for Gentleman here. No, we were not doing voice chat for these games. Protoss gets huge advantage in this match since only 1 worker to make so much junk. Actually true, yeah. Soviet and I, after our first series against Banana and TT1, we kind of both agreed that having played non-coms for, 25 years of StarCraft, it just felt weird and uncomfortable, and we decided that we weren't really comfortable telling each other what to do and like trying to make shot calls in voice. So we decided to just play like we always play, and just play in-game and type to each other. So here I scout the forward bunker, which is at my choke. It's a little bit of a potential scary situation for me, getting blocked in. It's going to be 3 racks from GGeasy, gas coming down here. 3 gate from Gentleman with a forge here. I drop a forward pylon. Zealot does get into my base, and I don't really have the kind of anti-setup that I would need. Kind of want like a pylon up here, then make a small wall for the Zealots to prevent this. So I end up drilling, which does kill the Zealot without taking any damage, but pulling off of the workers does kind of suck. Soviet does show up and cancels. Looks like another forward bunker here. 3 more Zealots coming into my base as I move to intercept. A little bit slow reaction there from me. 3 Zealots is scary because if 3 Zealots get on top, it'll just be 1 volley, killing a probe over and over and over again, so you want to avoid that as much as possible. I do kind of set up like a little mini wall here, kind of track, stay on top of the Zealots some. Meanwhile, Marines pushing in here. Soviets, 2 Zealots here. Kind of walking in the bunker, and we end up losing 1. As I'm dealing with this in the meantime, did go into Dragoon Tech on 2 gate. The Zealots do get on top of my probes, and 1, 2 probes go down. So only 2 probes again so far. Just 2. But again, pulling out all the minerals does hurt some. Meanwhile, I got cannons and bunkers going up in the front of my base. Dingo, or not Dingo, but GGeasy pushing back Soviet into his base as well. Does go for the extra nexus here again. Goes for his own forge. Meanwhile, I push forward with my Dragoon here a little bit. Trying to pressure this some to make sure I don't get blocked in and get forced out of the map. But this is a lot of Marines here for GGeasy at this moment. I only have 3 Dragoons and 4 Zealots, so my army is very small at the moment. As I had taken some eco damage. My worker count's okay at 22, but yeah, just interrupting my mining a few times, not so good. Soviet going for the counter here. Just 2 cannons to defend. Looks like he's a little bit indecisive at first, jumps on top of the Zealots. Turns back around to jump on the cannons. Is going to clear up this cannon and the next cannon. In the meantime, my Dragoons are coming forward here. Canceling these cannons some to prevent myself from getting walled, so that's pretty good. Easy shows up to try and help his teammate. Got a few workers going down for Gentleman, knocking him down to 17 probes. So, our eco for myself and Soviet both looking very good. As I'm waiting for range here to continue the harass. Going up to my 4th and 5th gateway. Soviet did lose a fair amount of his army, so his zealot count's relatively low. And there's a lot of bio here for GGeasy. Stemming forward, jumping on top of these Dragoons. With the Zealot coming in to help tank as well. Zealot Dragoon, or Zealot Marine with stem has very, very high DPS and tanking potential. I lose a few Dragoons. Sorry, my voice is gone. I apologize, it's cracking constantly. Trying to micro down some of these Marines, but this is a lot of stem bio coming in. Soviet maybe looking for another counter in the meantime, but a lot of defensive cannons here. Dragoons only just down to 3 Dragoons here, getting very low. With a lot of bio left over and several Zealots. 1 more Dragoon goes down, stem bio jumps on top of the probes, killing a ton of probes here. Knocking me down just to 6 probes, 5 probes, 4 probes. And at this point we're more or less dead. Nexus gets targeted. And the Nexus will fall. So with that I'm pretty much out of the game now, just down to 5 workers and no Nexus. Soviet is up to his own Dragoons and we just now starting the Cyber Core for Gentleman. But GGeasy's macro hasn't really missed a whole lot here. Money relatively low, sitting on 28 workers. A lot of barracks here, and there's just a lot of leftover bio, or reinforcing bio even. Do manage to barely clean this up, but yeah, the damage is done. Yeah, we pretty much got mowed down by the Marine Zealot. Didn't really use like a SimCity or anything very well either. I could have maybe done like pylons and gateways here at the front to try and create more of a funnel. But that also would have made it harder for me to micro out. So part of that's the discomfort on the map, not sure how I should build. Maybe should have just gone into my own cannons and played more defensive and allowed them to hold me, but my thought process was if I allow that to go up in my front, then once tanks come out, I'm completely out of the game. Like, I can't really do much of anything. If I have, like, bunker cannon tanks here, I'm, like, never getting out. DT do pop out for Soviet, so he does chase this attack back. I killed this top pylon to get kind of, like, optimal mining for my Nexus, at least. That being said, the eBay flies in, just to double check to see if I am dead or not. Does see that my Nexus is rebuilding. So that does kind of let them know they need to come in and kill me at some point. Zealot's moving out here to intercept these Dragoons. Actually really like the kind of horizontal pathing here to force them into the cannons with like the Marines on both sides. It cleans up those Dragoons. 6 DT here, but with these cannons up, fortunately they're not going to be able to push through here very easily. Gentleman coming in to finish me, and I'm just going to use the little bit that I have do as much damage as possible to the army. Easy stimming up and coming after these Dragoons. Yeah, I'm just trying to micro with what I got. I feel like I'm gonna run out of space here at the top of the map. In the meantime, the DT are gonna right click and move command through, hoping to possibly catch him off guard and get a kill. If Soviet's able to do like massive damage or kill a player, then he can get into a 1v1 situation, then the game would still be winnable, so that is what he's going for here. Smartly though, GGeasy does have backup turrets around, and he's even got 2 additional comsats, so the odds of these DT getting a kill is very, very low. Meanwhile, we have the Robo down here for Gentleman, getting shuttle speed and the Templar Archive, so we're looking for the patented storm drops here. I do ask if he wants to go next or try to play it out. I think he doesn't say anything, so I just kind of sit and hang out, watch for a little bit, see what he does. Too little, too late. GG. Oh. The DT did get cleaned up. We heard the scans go down, and he was also getting more turrets up because he needed it. Pretty high Dragoon count here for Soviet, despite floating 2k minerals. The supply looking very, very good. It does have Templar tech here, dropping down double Robo. Templar coming out. 4 extra gateways on the way, so up to 12 gateways now for Soviet. We have Templar outs. I think Storm is done. I don't see it researching, we just don't have the energy yet. Yeah, and GGeasy intelligently not attacking into this choke and just kind of falling back. Preparing to maybe play a little bit more defensive. You don't want to headbutt into just a really, really bad trade and allow Soviet to possibly come out and kill someone. With 3k in the bank, could actually be even maxed, honestly. But GGeasy macroing very well, playing pretty intelligently. Falling back here, kind of defensive posturing. Storm comes down, kills just 4 Marines here. Second Storm comes down, cleans up this one tank. So this choke becomes very difficult to clear, especially if you see bunkers come down. Bunkers, kind of a good counter to Storm if you're on bio. Meanwhile, Storm Drop comes down here, killing a bunch of probes. Knocking Soviet down to 28 probes, so a big hit to the eco there. Meanwhile, getting Corsair and shuttles of his own, potentially looking for his own drops. GGeasy on the other side of the screen, on the other side of here. Dropping down extra factories, getting science vessels for EMPs and stuff, possibly. Yeah, getting EMP. I really like that call. EMP, obviously, very, very good against Archon Templar, and just really just amazing against Protoss in general. I actually got a tank drop coming here, and Soviet's just going to go ahead and call GG, not wanting to deal with the additional harass, especially after taking so much damage. Alright, jumping into game 3 here, and it is going to be a Protoss war, so all 4 of us got Protoss. My favorite. Well, 3 of us picking, obviously, and then GGeasy playing random lands on Protoss this time. I say no and fastest players like to lock one in, hide your scouting probe somewhere, and make gates in a diff base. Make gates in a different base. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I've actually seen that happen in one of the... I think in one of the qualifiers I casted, someone did that. Where they made like a bunch of gateways, or we were against someone. I think we played against someone when I was like trying to practice 2v2s. And someone like made like a ton of gateways at 3 o'clock. For that reason. Alright, so typically nothing fancy. When everybody's Protoss, you'll see... I've always seen 3 gateways out of all 4 players whenever this has happened. don't imagine anything different will go down. Got 3 gateways here for GGeasy. 3 gateways for Soviet. Interesting RNG, nice little TVB. Not for this one. I'm in between the both and Soviets down here. But I guess those two more or less sharing choke. We actually have, I would say, a slight positional advantage because we do have the flank here on GGeasy. 4 gate coming down for Gentleman, so he's just planning on tons and tons of zealots as I go to 3 gate. I think I drop a 4th gate at some point for myself, I don't really remember. Good defensive pylons here to prevent the kind of zealot harass. Now we do have the zealot moving out here. I think it's going to go to 6 o'clock. We'll see. Meanwhile, I have my own zealot going up towards Gentleman here. Yeah, so the zealot moving in here. A little bit of interception. See if we can get zealots here to plug the mineral line here to protect the probes. Yeah, we get the zealots down here in time, which is nice, but we don't quite get it on this side. Okay, it's only 1 probe, so actually that's not too bad. So, pretty good defensive setup here for Soviet Kingdom, make sure we don't take any damage. In the meantime, I get my zealot over here, and Gentleman does the same thing. He gets his probes over to the left side. He was even keeping them on the left side the whole time, and sets up this defensive pylon with the gate or the zealots. I will say on the top spawns you need 1 extra zealot because you can't quite put the pylon snug like you can these bottom ones here, like this. Forward pylon coming down for GGeasy with a forge looking to cannon in Soviet Kingdom. And actually pushes them down a bit, back a bit. 3 zealots coming in here for Gentleman, and I don't have the defensive setup with the pylons. Kind of the only one. I guess GGeasy didn't either. So I do pull my probes here a little bit, which is going to do some eco damage to me. And actually lose a probe here. The 2nd probe goes down. 3rd probe goes down. A pretty bad start for me. Knocking me down just to 18 workers. Still only down 2, but obviously the lost mining sucks. Getting the 3 zealots does help me get a little bit of extra control though. And going up to just 6 gateways here with no gas for Gentlemen, so it's going to be a ton of zealots coming out. Meanwhile, Soviet fighting down here, and because I do get the kind of early zealot lead, it allows me to come down here to help kind of break this position. Now you see the pings coming down on Gentlemen here. GGeasy wanting these zealots to be here much sooner, understandably so. So we do manage to 2v1 this position for a bit, which allows us to push back all the cannons and get a pretty good trade on the zealots. My additional zealots coming in behind as well. A lot of additional zealots coming in from Soviet, so it's just a big zealot war. Let me change the color so we can see the results a bit easier. As you can see, we have a pretty overwhelming number of zealots here on the position now, with our reinforcements coming in. Like I said, this is one of the disadvantages of the positions. My reinforcements to this spot is going to be significantly faster than Gentleman's, because he has all of this distance to travel, whereas my army is going to be like right here, fighting right here. So pretty big advantage based on the spawns in that sense. It does allow us to break this position. Now I did lose a lot of my zealots, so my zealot count's pretty low. And like I said, Gentlemen going pretty much all in on the zealots here with no gas. I am working my way to dragoons here, going up to gateways 5 and 6 now. Another pretty good 2v1 fight. I think we only killed like 1 or 2 zealots here, but we did get a lot of damage on. Yeah, and then 2 more additional zealots go down. GGeasy looking for the counter here on Soviet. Does have 2 defensive cannons set up, and we're managing to move our zealots down here. Soviet calling for 7 when it has 7 o'clock. I do actually move up because I want to push these zealots back if we're going to hit 7, because I don't have cannons, so I could be countered very easily at the moment. I do finally have my forge about to finish, but I know my zealot count's going to be really high, and I've got dragoons coming out soon, so I feel like I can trade pretty well by going into the better tech. Especially because I do forego cannons a lot longer, it does allow me to have basically the same army count while going into tech instead. So Soviet goes for 7 o'clock. GGeasy going for a bit of a counter in the meantime. Does get chased off. Only one defensive cannon here for GGeasy at the moment, but a lot of cannons coming down to help secure a defensive position. So Soviet kind of targeting down some zealots, but all these cannons coming up, it is going to push him back. In the meantime, I push up here, attacking with my zealots into a really high zealot count here. But I have my dragoons coming out. Thank you, Michael, for the sub on YouTube. I appreciate that. I think that's YouTube. Alright, so my dragoons cutting these zealots back here. Do have the tech advantage. We're only just kind of start mining gas. For a gentleman, we're just at 200 here. Second geyser is down. Fiber core not quite finished, so I do get a lot of cutting potential here for a pretty long time to pick off zealots. It does also mean he's having to go cannons in the front of his base here. Soviet does have a large army here. He did trade really well against the army of GGeasy, so GGeasy's supply is a bit low. That being said, his worker count looks fine, like he's right there with Soviet on workers. Even though Soviet's playing double Nexus, GGeasy's on triple Nexus. But here I'm finally doing something that I hate to do. Making a ton of defensive cannons, making a small wall here as well to funnel zealots in case I get counterattacked. This allows me to help Soviet attack here. And then I see the zealots coming down here and I end up moving forward my dragoons to try and start picking away at them. Kind of mess with the reinforcements some. And this is just another example of the positioning being kind of difficult for their team to play against. But a lot of cannons coming down. We have double Robo Reaver as well behind us. So a huge flanking force of zealots here. Just a ton of zealots in general versus basically mass goons. Reaver or Robo coming down for Gentleman while this is going on. And also Citadel about halfway done, so we are going to be teching towards Storm and possibly Lightspeed as well since we're so heavy on zealots. Now we're just kind of kiting around with these zealots, but a ton of cannons coming up. Like I said, a bunch of cannons with Reavers. This becomes a very difficult position for Protoss to break. And meanwhile, just kind of keep pulling those zealots here back and forth, making them fight into my cannons, making them like have to do additional micro there, watching that. Do clear up all the zealots here in GGeasy's base, and we just have a lot of dragoons left over. Soviet continuing to rally into his base in the meantime. But once Reavers 3 and 4 get out, it starts becoming really hard for dragoons to push through Cannon Reaver. Even with just the 2 Reaver, if they're controlled well, is really, really difficult. 1 Reaver does get picked off, so it's pretty painful there. But it's hard to like move on top of these Reavers with this many cannons firing at you the whole time. 3rd Reaver comes out. I do move some of my goons forward here, pick off 1 Reaver, but big Reaver shot there, Scarab. And another one there cleans all this up. And then DT also come out on top of that. And no Observer for us. No, sorry, this is Soviet's Observer. So an Observer does come down to push back the DT. And basically just more cannons going around these Reaver to try and secure this position. All the infrastructure of GGeasy has taken a lot of damage, and his army's been reset. He hasn't taken any eco damage, so if he can just get a few moments, he can rebuild his army very quickly. So we just need to not give him a chance to breathe, more or less. Still very, very heavy Zealot production here. Reaver coming down with the shuttle and 2 Zealots. Does get dropped. Okay, there it is. Hero comes out and barely gets the hit before it does. Still at 43 workers, so I think we lost like, what, 10-15. Not too bad. Not great either, but I'm on triple Nexus, so it's not too bad. So it's also coming for the attack here, but with the cannons and the goons in the Sim City, I'm going to be able to clean this up just fine. Meanwhile, we're just continuing to flood GGeasy space with just mass dragoons. Did get up to a 3rd Robo. But we're starting to break through the cannons and get on top of the Reavers here. And just, yeah, this is such a difficult difficult position for Gentlemen to try and push through, because it's just the Zealots are going to single file through here. GGeasy with a GG, yellow, computer, you win, whole tourney. So, a little bit of drama, a little bit of infighting. And so, Team Azhi and Soviet wins game 3 on fastest. So, I'm going to break this down a little bit. That does mean that GGeasy and Gentlemen did concede BGH. They didn't want to play together anymore, so we did also get the 2-0 victory on BGH. And let me post this again for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. So here's the tournament standings. So the way this works is when you win a map, so any map that you win is 1 point when you get a win at all. If you win the series, 2-1, 2-0, doesn't matter. You get the 2 map points plus an additional point for winning that series on that map. So we went 6-1, right, for this series, which gives us 9 points. And unfortunately, that does mean that we're 1 point short of TT1 and Banana. So yeah, that puts us at 12, and TT1 and Banana at 13 points. So they're actually going to be able to qualify over us. So Team Azhi, we're out of the tournament. But because our map score was good, it does mean we have a chance at 3rd place at least. I don't think we're planning on doing a 3rd place match. They're just going to base it on map score. So we'll see if maybe that 6-1 victory does at least allow us to get 3rd place. Or maybe we'll end up playing a match, I'm not sure, if there's a tie. We'll see what happens. But that does conclude the results from Group B, and it does mean that TT1 and Banana TQ are the first finalists.